Hello Stampers, welcome to my channel. My name is Lori Staley, Addicted Stamper with Stampin Up, and I'm an independent demonstrator in outside of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Whether you are returning for another Make It Monday or this is the first time you've stopped by my channel, welcome. Come on in. We're going to have some fun stamping together this day. And I just want to give you a couple of little updates before we get started. These cards that you see laying here is my current Stamp-A-Stack for scheduled for September 11th in person, but it is also available virtually. You would make 16 cards, 4 of each of the designs. Most of them were created that you really just need a greeting. All the die cutting, etc. would be done for you. The embossing is done. You would add the white crafting to that one. And then this one, you could put anything in the center of that cute little designer paper square. I happen to use the pine cone that's current in the mini catalog. And then this one is my favorite, and this is my snowman. I love snowmen, and we have some really fun snowman sets right now. But this is actually a returning favorite, right? So this is the snowman from Snow Wonder. So you may actually already have that in your stash, but you could certainly substitute any snowman or any winter image that you have for him as well. So if you are interested in that, again, it is virtual. It is... the class is $32. It also includes a pack of the gold gilded gems in that cost. And then the postage, if we are not local to each other, would be $8 to priority ship that to you. So I will drop a link below for that if you're interested in grabbing that special little offering that I have going on right now. I also want to remind or let you know, if you're new, about my Facebook page. I'm active over there quite often. Lori Staley Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. The Tuesday tip, we're changing it up. We're going to do a once-a-month Tuesday technique night with interactive stamping, where you all get to decide what I'm using in some cases on the projects. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting that started in September, and I'll talk more about that in upcoming video. And then Thursday's coffee and cards at 10. I create 3 projects, and you just bring your favorite morning beverage and hang out with me. And then Sunday, come stamp along with me at 8 is my mystery stamping event. And I send out a supply list beforehand. You can choose to go ahead and prep the supplies and stamp with me, or you can simply sit and enjoy and chat with each other. We have a very great community that comes on Sunday night, and it's a lot of fun. So hopefully you'll check that out. I did a show last night. We did all kinds of angled cuts for our cards and designer series paper, so that was a lot of fun. Do I have them here? Sure, I can show you those. This is what we did last night on my Facebook page. So a lot of fun, and would love to have you join us some Sunday night. Okay, today we're going to play with pretty pumpkins. If you've watched me, you know I'm a huge fall girl. I love fall, and I love, love, love this set. But we're going to mix it up and make it a fun fold fall card. And let me show you what that looks like. So this is called a Z spinner card. And when you pull it out of the envelope and you open it, the pumpkin spins. And the nice thing is that when you set this up to display it, if the wind catches it, the pumpkin will also spin. So how cute is that? And then this is a thank you card. I typically leave my thank you cards blank so that I can write my message on the inside. If you don't want to have your writing in there, you could absolutely put another piece of the Very Vanilla on the background, on the back here, and stamp and write. So that choice is yours to do as you like. But all you do to make that spin when it comes out, right, is twist the pumpkin as many times as you like till you feel a little bit of tension. And I'm starting to feel it. And then when you slide that into the envelope, just make sure you keep your thumb on the pumpkin so that when they pull it out and open it, it spins. Okay, so let's not put it away. Let me show you how we're going to make this card. And again, I am using the Pretty Pumpkin bundle. I'm going to use that real pretty leafy pumpkin. And then, of course, the dies, I'm going to use the open pumpkin to cut the stamped image out. We're also going to use the solid leaf on there and the So Thankful for You greeting. And in order to do this, you can either use your layering circle dies, or if you have the circle punch, this is about a 2 1/4 inch circle. So you can use either one of those items to create the circle. I have both, but because the punch is retired, I did it this time with the layering circle dies. But this is a fun card. I've made this card multiple times, not this particular one, but this type of a card, the spinner card, and they're fun. They're really cute. Put like the penguin on there for a child. That would be really cute. Let your imagination run wild. The key to it is, though, whatever you're using for your spinner image, your circle has to be large enough for it to move around in there. The other key is that you want a completely mirrored piece, right? So that they line up perfectly. Snowflakes, we have some snowflakes out there that works with. And if your image doesn't do that, then you just stamp it on circles and you can mirror the circles together. So works either way. Okay, so I have a regular 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock. I've already scored it at 4 1/4, but to create this flap, this Z-fold, if you will, we are going to score this at 2 1/8, which is exactly half of our front flap. I love this paper trimmer because not only does it have the trimming blade, of course, but it also has the scoring tool right there with it. And there are places to take the blades in and out. You can push them because it is a large cutter. You can push whichever blade you're not using out of the way to prevent the oops. And I've done the oops, right, where you meant to score and you actually cut. Plus it opens up. So you have this nice long arm that allows you to do a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. So, okay, let's bring this back in. I have a piece of the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. So pretty. This one actually reminds me a little bit of wallpaper, but I love the colors in it. Perfect for fall. Okay, my bone folder has walked away. So we're going to try to do this with my fingernail. Yeah. I'm always amazed when I open a drawer that it's stored in and it's not there. But I think we're going to be fine. We are going to go ahead and mount this because when we die cut the circle, or whether you punch the circle, right, we want it to go through both layers, the Designer Series paper and your cardstock layer. So let's put some seal on here. And I did make sure to do both sides. I want it to stay on. I don't want when I cut the circle out to have any issues. Now, if you're really, really good at eyeballing, please, by all means, feel free to eyeball this. What you want is that folded edge to go down the center of your circle. And it is kind of important that you hit that because otherwise you're going to see some of the back portion of the front flap through the opening, and we certainly don't want that. So right here, I'm just going to be really safe and measure from the outside edge of the die to the fold, which is really about 7/16, 1 7/16 from that edge, and then 1 7/16. So I did good. I got it exactly where I want it. I'm going to open that up, okay, and we're going to put it on our bed to do our die cutting, which is just our platform, our plate 2, a clear cutting pad, and another clear plate. Take that off to the side where my die cutting machine is. And bring it back so you can see. So there we have perfect alignment, no issues there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to lay that aside for the moment. Now I did go ahead and do one of the pumpkins in advance, but let's stamp the other one. We're stamping that in pumpkin pie. And then I'm going to show you a trick, because did you notice that the stem of the pumpkin is a different color? So I've stamped it in pumpkin pie, and I have a blender pen here. And I'm just going to remove the color from the stem, get that pumpkin pie removed with the blender pen. And I'm going to come back in with my Stampin' Right marker. So this does not work with the blends. What happens with the blends is because of the alcohol in the blends, they dry too quickly. So the ink does not come off when you try to stamp it. And I am literally just taking the brush tip on its side over the stem to apply the crumb cake. Now do a little Darth Vader breathing, as we like to call it in club. But really you're just huffing on the stamp to reactivate the ink in case it had dried up a little bit while you were coloring, removing the color and then coloring the stem. So we have that. We're going to grab the pumpkin die and we're just going to die cut that. Same sandwich as what we used to cut the circle out. Put a piece of Post-it note tape on there so I'm sure it stays where I need it to be aligned. And there's our second pumpkin, except we need to add the color. So now I am going to bring in a blend. Close this up because I will lay my hand in it at some point if I don't. And all I'm going to do is take my Pumpkin Pie Light blend. And so did you know, because I know a lot, when the blends first came out, we were told use them with Memento ink, right? Alcohol-based markers, solvent-based markers go with the Memento, water-based markers go with StazOn. So you kind of think opposite of each other, right? But did you know you could color with use your blends to color with other stamp pads? Not all of them. Some of them will bleed on you if you do what I'm doing here. So you can test on scrap before you take it to your project. But the pumpkin pie marker blend with the pumpkin pie ink works just fine. So that's how we got the two tones on the pumpkin. And now let me bring in our string. So you can use fishing wire, you can use thin sewing thread. Just because of the colors that I was using, I decided that the linen thread was going to work just fine with this. It almost blends right into the crumb cake in the background. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use some linen thread. I have the end of one that was still on a card. I tuck these things away and then I find them later. And what we're going to do, now, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can attach your thread back here. Okay, I chose, I tried it with Tombow years ago. It worked okay, but I found that over time it started to loosen and the linen thread didn't necessarily stay in place and stay as taut as we wanted it. So what I've done, and I went ahead and laid it down before we got together, I have strips of tear and tape on here, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna roll that tear and tape up. This is my silicone pad. I'm telling you, if you don't have a silicone pad, you need one, guys. It is fabulous, and I'm going to lay this down, and you can use your finger, you can use take your pick tool. I'm realizing that I'm a little bit lower with my circle on this one, so I'm hoping my greeting is going to fit in down there too. But we're going to go ahead and lay that in there, and then I can bring that back up to inside the circle. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So this is, again, just a strip of the tear and tape that I laid onto the silicone pad, which allows me to roll it into a thin line, okay, just like that. And you can put this right in your fold, okay? So we've got that prepped. Ooh, that was not smart. This is why I closed the ink pads and everything, because honestly, I will lay something down. Okay, so we're going to move this out of the way before I do it again. Put that up there. Oh, now it wants to stick to my finger. Well, I don't think we're going to need that piece, so I'm going to put that over there. All right, so we are going to, now here we are going to use some Tombow liquid glue as we put our pumpkins together. But I'm going to take this linen thread and I'm leaving myself a little bit of extra on the end, right? And just press that down into the rolled up tear and tape. And then I'm going to make it really taut. Okay. So I've got good tension there, and do the same thing. And I'm going to let that just like that while I work on this, because I want to get the pumpkin put together. And if it looks like it's off kilter, then we can just simply adjust it on the back. I think that's, let's see if I can bring that over at all. There we go. I think that's good. Okay. So now we're going to put our pumpkins in here, and you can see the circle is cut nice and big so that it won't hit any resistance as it spins. And I'll tell you what, and we want that to go right down the center of the pumpkin. Okay. The tear and tape allows you to work much more quickly as well. If you had Tombow glue back there to hold the thread in place, then you would need to wait for that to dry really well in order to continue on with your project, because otherwise you risk pulling the thread loose. And I like the Tombow because it gives us time to shift the pumpkin around so that we're sure we have good alignment. Look, it's already spinning on us. All right, I'm going to let that dry, the Tombow dry on that. I'm still going to keep this on there because I might have to make it tight one more time. And now we're going to bring in the piece of crumb cake. And Evening Evergreen. And this is that solid leaf from the Pretty Pumpkins. And I'm going to stamp off. Just put a little border on there. Always stamp off the edge of my cardstock. Just think it gives it a more finished look. Okay, and I've broken all the rules here because I did not stamp my greeting before I started putting the card together. So here's hoping not only that it fits, but that I get it stamped straight. Let's see. And this stamp looks really crooked on the block, but it's because I really messed it up when I mounted that clear label to it. So you can see on the back it looks perfectly straight. So when I have a stamp like this, I always stamp it on my grid paper first to make sure that I'm going to get it straight. And if I stamp it just like that, I will. And yes, we are going to fit. So I'm really looking to make sure my edges of my block are straight, more so than my stamp, because once that clear label goes on your stamp, it's not coming off. It sticks really, really well, which is what we want most times, except when we make a boo-boo and end up having it crooked on the stamp. All right, yeah, I think I'm going to try bringing this up and bringing this part. Oops, okay, well, that worked too. I want to make this just a little bit tighter. So again, I want to make sure the pumpkin is centered so it doesn't hit the sides when it comes down through. We're going to roll that. That guy's not staying in his crevice. And then this pressed down nice and firm. Okay, I think that looks good. Just take my fingernail over it one more time to make sure it's nice and tucked in there. Grab my snips. Trim off the excess. And down here we even have a little bit longer tail of glue than we need. And there's our card. And then again, remember, you're going to wind this up. And as you wind, you can actually see that thread. I don't know if you can on camera, but you can see the thread twisting. You want to make sure you have some good tension in there. And then we're going to just put it into the envelope. Hold that pumpkin in place, right, so that it doesn't untwist as you're putting it in the envelope. And then, voila, when they pull it out, it spins for them. So I think that's really cute. That's a fun interactive card for your recipients. And hopefully you liked that. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. That always helps. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet and you like what you saw today, I would love to have you as a new subscriber. Don't worry about the dimensions, etc. I will be putting all the information in the below description under the video. So if you decide you want to go back and make the card, you absolutely can do that. And if you do not have a demonstrator in the United States that you're working with, I would love to help you with your stamping journey. You can find my website at addictedstamper.stampinup.net. If you need Stampin' Up! Supplies, I would love for you to shop with me. My August Hostess code is right there for you. And put that in on the order so that I can see that you've placed that order. If your order is a minimum of $25 in product or more, you will receive my Just cards for the month, which look like this. And these are card kits that I will send to you, along with a welcome gift if it's your first order with me. So, and that will come to you along with envelopes, all the supplies. You just need to supply the greetings, and in this case, the pumpkin, because, again, it's the pretty pumpkin. I love it. All right, folks. Hey, thanks so much for watching today. I'll be back next Monday with another Make It Monday. Until then, I hope you have a great week, and talk to you soon. Bye.